Alright, we're going to go ahead and put our thread on the hook, and we're going to start about 1/4 of the way down the hook shank and go to the bend, and then cut off that little excess material in your left hand. And now we've got our olive rabbit dubbing, and you don't need a whole bunch, but just enough to cover the thread wraps. So go ahead and start dubbing that on the thread. Like I said, I'd rather do a little bit smaller amounts and do 2. So go ahead and just start winding that on, and we're going to take this up to about 3/4 of the way up the hook shank. I'll probably put a little bit more on. Alright, now we're just going to trim off some of those guard hairs. Like I said, this is rabbit dubbing. I use it because I like it to look really kind of crazy in the water. But I do trim a lot of those longer fibers and get it looking nice. And now we're going to go to, this is all-purpose deer hair. It's a pretty high quality grade. And the easiest way to get stuff out is slide your scissors at the base and pull it out. Alright, so like I slide my scissors in here, I'll grab them with my left hand, and I'm going to trim right at the base. This is going to give me the maximum amount of deer hair each time I go to cut a new chunk out. So we have squared it all up, gotten it nice and even. Now we're going to go ahead and put this on the fly. So my right hand, I'm going to come in and measure it, and right at that transition of the white to the brown on the deer hair, or tannish, that's where I'm going to tie it in off the back of the hook. I'm going to do 1 loose wrap, then the second time around, tighten down, and that's going to make sure it all locks into place right on the top of the hook. And the other thing is, I take my left hand and I'm pretty forceful holding it up, but that's not the whole thing. The next is we're going to grab some chartreuse deer hair, do the same thing with the tips of the scissors, kind of shoot up a couple. You don't need much of the chartreuse, maybe a dozen hair strands. And it can be a little bit more annoying to stack because this is just the belly hair that's been dyed. So we've got that stacked, and there's probably going to be some fibers that are like a little bit too long, so just pull them out. And this is because deer hair, belly hair is not really made for this sort of precision tying, or made, it's not often used. So you look at the ratio, this is about a dozen pieces of the chartreuse to a large chunk of the all-purpose deer hair. And we're just going to place this on top, same length as the deer hair. And I've sort of made a little valley that I've driven that chartreuse down into, right on the top though. I'm going to do 1 wrap is loose, 1 wrap tightens down, and now that causes the deer hair to shoot straight up. We're going to go ahead and just slowly tighten all this stuff down. I'm holding back a chunk, and then I tighten it in. Hold back a chunk, tighten it in, and just continue that process till you get to the eye of the hook. Do 2 or 3 wraps to secure that into place, and then with your left hand, hold back all those deer fibers. This will make sure your head is nice and clean. Make sure you get all of them. That'll make that head really nice and clean. And now we just start the trimming, and you trim that head to the shape you want, which is typically just pretty tight, nice little U-shaped. So I'll take my time just trimming it up nice. The more hair that you leave on, the longer it will float, but you don't want too much.